All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Run.down. I'm your host Tyrese, and with me today is Luca at Knicks__. Knicks win, thankfully, in a hard-fought game against the Brooklyn Nets, which I can't believe I'm saying a hard-fought game against the Brooklyn Nets, but that's what it was. I'm not doing production, my bad. But they win that 99-95. Very up and down game, very inconsistent game from I'd say basically everybody on the team. Um, they would go up for long stretches. The Nets would fight back. The Knicks would go up again. The Nets would fight back. The Nets held the lead for a little bit in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks were able to power through. I think at one point they were 1 for 9 in the ninth quarter or in the fourth quarter, and shots started to fall. Jalen Brunson was able to bring it home towards the end, and the Knicks walked away with a victory. Probably not the best feeling victory, but a victory nonetheless, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, can't really put it much better than that. Like you said, very up and down game. Jalen had it going when it mattered. Had a couple big shots in the fourth, but other than that, it was pretty quiet. Offense overall definitely needed some work. We didn't score 100 points tonight. Granted, the Nets only scored 95, but we shot 46% from the field, only hit 8 of 28 threes. A lot of good looks, but could chalk it up to a second night of a back-to-back, but you take the win on these types of nights, especially when the Nets are playing good stretches of basketball, getting 23 and 10 from D'Angelo Russell.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize he got 23 10 for D'Angelo Russell. That's nasty.
Yeah,
We gave D'Angelo Russell 7 free throws. Oh, good lord.
yeah,
Before we keep going, though, I'd read. BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, to NHL, to the UFC, head to BetOnline today, and don't forget to use promo code BLEAV for your welcome bonus from your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, with that being said, let's get to the performers of the game. Of course, you have to start with Al Capitan, Jalen Brunson, 17 points. I believe he had 6 points in the fourth, and all of them came in crunch time. 7 of 18 from the field, 1 of 4 from three, and 2 of 4 from the line. He missed his first 2 free throws. That occurred in early in the first quarter. It was a very off game for him. Where yesterday he was on, and he was hitting the jumpers against Dyson Daniels and Clint Capella. He was not hitting those jumpers against Noah Clowney, Cameron Johnson, and Tyrese Martin. So really rough game for him. But towards the end, like we said, he was able to salvage it and bring it back. So points for being able to close it out down the stretch, but I didn't think it was his best game.
No, not at all. He didn't really look comfortable ever in this game for whatever reason. In the first quarter, when we were cooking a little bit, he kind of took a secondary role. Josh was creating a lot. Mikal and OG were getting a lot of on-ball touches. I don't know. Whatever it may be, I think Brooklyn's just another big athletic team for whatever reason. They Keon Johnson, Sharp, Nick Claxton, Noah Clowney, even Cam Johnson. As Jalen continues to develop this chemistry with Cat and play in this different style of offense than he has in the last 2 years with the Knicks, or 3 years with the Knicks, I should say. It's just stuff that's going to be worked on, and some nights are going to be bad. Some nights are going to be, varying results like tonight. And then some is going to be really good, like his 44-point explosion the other night against Milwaukee a couple weeks ago. So You just got to take everything as it comes. Hopefully, he performs better as the season continues, and no reason not to expect that from him at this point.
Yeah. And as I said, like, he was able to finish strong, so that is important. But yeah, like, usually I think we see like in January he kind of turns it on, and that's been like usually his more consistent stretch is heading into the new year and after the new year starts. But for this year, it's been kind of up and down, and I'm probably harping on it a bit much because like the last 5 games before this, he was playing pretty well. Um, but it's like he just has like these games where it's like, what are you doing? And I think they've been more frequent than previously, just because like the Knicks are adjusting to like a new personnel, obviously, new kind of schemes, new style. I mean, like the last couple of games before this, he had a really consistent stretch. But these are the games where it's like you kind of wish he was doing a little bit more. But again, could be a better game, but we won, so you can't harp on it too much. Now to probably the best player in the game, Karl Anthony Towns, 25 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. 11 of 19 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, 3 or 4 from the line. I do think the wrist is bothering him. I do think that like it's affecting his shooting. He looks rough out there. But I mean, if you're going to go 11 or 19 from the field and give us 25, 16, and 6, I could care less if you shoot 0 3 from 3. He had a great game. I thought he was pretty active defensively. I thought he seemed to be like at the heart of the stretches where the Knicks would go up by double digits. Him and the bench unit for the most part. And I feel that like he again is just playing at such a high level that it's almost like you're taking it for granted because he just keeps doing everything he can ask him to do offensively.
Yeah. To your point, I think the thumb, wrist, whatever it is, it's definitely bothering him. But if he can keep shooting threes and if he just keeps putting himself out there, takes a couple of games, maybe it doesn't have to be like 6 like we'd like it to be when he's fully healthy, but just take a couple, keep defenses honest. And then I thought his passing and playmaking really flashed with the second unit in the second quarter. It was, I believe, Deuce, Campaign, Shamit, Precious, and Cat. And that lineup gave the Knicks a really nice spark in the second quarter. I believe they went on a 10-2 run. Shamit was a plus 10 in 6 minutes. Payne was a plus 9 in 9 minutes. So nice little stretch there. Again, Cat had 6 assists, which is probably one of his higher numbers this season. Funny I say that he had 7 against Atlanta just yesterday. But it's just good to see him active. Kind of a quiet 25 points. He did a ton of his work inside the paint. Only 4 free throws. I feel like he probably could be taking more, but you know.
Yeah, he got whacked all game. Like, and there were like legitimate beefs that he had with the refs, and he just would not get the calls. So
he usually gets abused just driving to the hoop. His whistle is really odd because refs don't really give him the benefit of the doubt with that hooking call. They usually send that the other way, and then he's not really allowed to play physically, defensively, or driving. But he continues to make it work, continues to have a career year. So really nice to see him shining, especially when Jalen has an off night.
Yep. And that's what you bring him in for, to be that kind of second star, sometimes be the first star on most nights, and he was able to deliver. So really good performance from him. I think a guy who had another good performance as well was OG Anunoby. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block. 8 of 18 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. I thought this was a pretty good game for him defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good to see because it's been pretty rough for him defensively. I want to say the last month. So the fact that he was like able to round into form It's really positive. I thought he did a good job on Cameron Dawson, both him and McHale. And honestly, like, I think he just had a really solid game. Like, it was a very quiet game. I think his bad play was pretty noisy the last couple of weeks, but the fact that he had a quiet game, was able to perform offensively, and like you really didn't notice him, I feel like that's when you know that like OG's having a good game. He didn't have like the insane plus minus like stat line, but I still think he played a really solid game, and it was necessary for this team.
Yeah. He didn't really smoke any dunks or layups tonight. He actually finished really well around the rim, which I liked. Shot 6 threes. You'll take 2 of 6 from him most night. That's good volume. And it just opened up the floor more for him. He was really active cutting, as he usually is, but really made an effort tonight. Despite the Nets being long and athletic, they're kind of skinny. OG's a tank, so Cat found him a lot underneath. Jalen and Josh found him a couple times for some dunks and layups. Good get from OG. And again, his defense was really solid. Cam Johnson ended up shooting. He was just 6 for 20 tonight. So, like you said, between him and McHale, did a really good job on him. And I guess segue a little bit to McHale. Didn't have the greatest game offensively. Just 10 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 of 12 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. But again, I thought he played another solid night of defense, built on last night when he defended Trey very well in that win. And just keep stacking the defense because I feel like as he plays better on one side of the ball, the other will continue to bolster up. Again, it's just good to see him shooting threes as well, continuing to take the volume even if they're not going down.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the volume was there. I thought McHale played really good defensively. Again, I think his main matchups were against Cam Johnson and D'Angelo Russell, and both those guys didn't shoot that well, which was really positive to see. I think he's been in a pretty good group defensively. I feel like since Christmas, he's been pretty solid defensively. Not like an all-NBA kind of guy, but his performance against Trey, he's also like getting into a new role of like having to guard like guards instead of like big wings. So, I mean, that's been a big adjustment for him, and he's been able to perform pretty admirably in the role on the aggregate of the season. So, yeah, I thought he had a really solid game, even though the stat line doesn't show it. I feel like he was uncharacteristically bad around the rim though, and in 2-point range, which is really interesting to see because usually he's so efficient in that area. But otherwise, I mean, he got to the free throw line, and those are the wins I took. Those are the wins I take. Like the fact that he gets to the free throw line, like that matters. And Josh Hart, I mean, 7 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. I think 9 assists, and then 2 steals. Yeah, just regular Josh Hart game. Couple CTE plays. But otherwise, I thought he had a pretty good game. Like nothing that like stood out, and he had the rebound down the stretch and sealed the game, which was really good from him. Yeah, like the starters were kind of weird this game. Aside from Cat and to a lesser extent Bridges, I really feel like Cat was probably the best starter.
Yeah. Just real quick on Josh. I think he had 4 assists in the first quarter. Draymond-esque stat line from him continues to kind of buy into that role for the Knicks as the season continues. The big rebound, I actually believe it was off the Cam Johnson missed 3 that would have put them up 1. And then to call a timeout while balancing before falling out of bounds was nice. He's just always doing the little stuff like that to help us win on the margins, which is very necessary when the team might not be locked in, not be as locked in, I should say, against a struggling Brooklyn team tonight. And I mean, they're going to have to continue, or they're going to have to get their schedule upcoming is pretty brutal. But, like we've been saying, you take the wins when you can get them. You never complain about a win in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. I think the big story of this game is probably going to be the bench minutes. They didn't play as much as they did the last game. But, I mean, I don't think it was too bad. I think Precious Drew had a really solid game. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 5 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. I thought he had a pretty solid game. The offense that he gave them especially was pretty good. And usually it's more for his defense, but I thought his offense was really strong. Juice had a solid game, 7 points on 3 of 6 shooting. Landry Shaman and Campaign really didn't give you anything, which sucks because when those guys are able to give you something, it lets you go a little bit deeper. But for the most part, and this is probably a 7-man rotation with Campaign and Landry Shaman being able to contribute when they have it going. And the fact that Precious Drew was able to give you a bit of bench scoring was really good to see.
Yeah, definitely agree. You have to wonder a little bit if Campaign only didn't play because he picked up a couple early fouls. I think he had 3 fouls in the first half.
Yeah.
And then just didn't play the rest of the game. But again, like you said, thankfully he didn't need to. Precious just gave us really active minutes all night. He only had 4 rebounds, but it feels like whether he gets a rebound or not, he's always involved on the glass. Deuce hit a couple nice shots for us. You'd like to see him get up more than 3 threes. I've seen him be a bit hesitant recently, which, there's a little bit more of a magnifying glass on that type of stuff just because the bench is so weak and we don't have much depth right now, so you'll take whatever you can get. But, end of the day, another solid performance from those 2 guys. They continue to just spearhead whatever bench unit we have over here until we either flip a trade or Tibbs figures out a consistent rotation.
Yep. Yeah, the bench is just I would like to see Juice just do more as a scorer, but I just don't think he's going to be there. I don't think there's a scorer, unfortunately. He's contact averse. He's hesitant with his threes. It doesn't stop him from being a good shooter when he gets the opportunity to. It doesn't stop him from being a good defender. But yeah, as a bench creator, I just don't think he's ever going to be. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really nice to just see him. I need to see him take the off the dribble threes again. Start pulling them contested even when you're on the wing. I mean, it feels like we're still not cutting up enough threes for how well we've shot overall on the season. I think we're still second in 3-point percentage on the year. And we just need some buoying of the offense when things have really looked clunky in this last stretch for whatever reason.
Yeah. Things are just clunky, but hopefully it's just a rough stretch and they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The schedule is not forgiving for them, but it's not something that they can't overcome. But yeah, ideally you try to get some more bench production somewhere, whether it be trade, whether it be somebody starting to take a real step up. But we shall see what happens there. Let's some comments. Cat has something wrong with his wrist, bone chip in his thumb. I'm pretty sure he also has. Pretty sure this is something about something being wrong in his wrist. If I remember the initial report, so let me check it real quick. Yeah, he suffered dislocated left wrists. Wait, that it? No, that's not from this. Okay, whatever. All right, sure.
I mean, whatever it is, you can see it's affecting him.
Yeah.
He airballed a 3 tonight. He was short on the other two. But again, like as long as he's out there, he was an efficient 26 and 16 tonight. You can't really complain about that. Like I said a little bit ago, I'd just like to see him continue to take the threes, even if they're not going to go down, because they'll go down eventually if he keeps up the volume, and teams are going to still have to respect him out there.
Yep. Jordan Bub, most games with at least 25 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists in the season. Walt Bellamy, 6. Bob McAdoo, 6. David Lee, 4. Carl Finney Towns, 4. I'm surprised Julius didn't have more 25, 15, and 5. I guess he's more of like a 25, 10, and 5. But
I was just going to say that he might have just gotten knocked off the list, actually. I wonder if he's 3.
yeah, he actually might have 3. I'm pretty sure he's had a 3 this season. I remember him doing that. But, yeah, like, again, Carl Finney Towns established himself as one of the better bigs the Knicks have had in their history. And I don't really think it's close either. Like, he is just such a supreme talent, and he has been for a while, and the fact that he's a Knick is really, really exciting to see and really positive.
Yeah, his level of offensive talent is just completely ridiculous. It's nothing like I've been able to watch on the Knicks in a while, even with Jalen. It's just like a different level because you don't really see a guy his size with his talent and athleticism often. And it really pops in games like tonight. Again, when the offense struggles, you only shoot 28% from 3 or whatever it was. We had 3 guys shoot better than 50% from the field tonight, including Cat. So one of them was Josh, who only took 5 shots. So it's like when you have a guy who can just easily put up 25, 16 boards, 6 assists, and then add in 3 steals and 2 blocks, it's pretty special stuff. And it's the reason you make these big trades. So shout out to Leon for making the move that people might not agree with, and a lot of people might not do. And it's working out pretty well so far for the Knicks and for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking like he's going to start in the All-Star game, which is his first time ever starting in the All-Star game. Probably 50-50 on Brunson. Pretty sure voting is closed now. So it's up to like the media members and the other players to probably vote Brunson in as a starter. But this is the year where starters doesn't even matter because there's 4 fucking teams. So I'm interested to see how that looks. It's either going to be really, really interesting or really, really bad. But I'm interested to see how it looks regardless.
And new is always good. It's just gets people excited. So
plus the Rising Stars team, like, probably going to motivate some dudes. So you don't want to be that team that loses to Rising Stars.
Yeah.
All right. Top of the note. What goes on with Jalen Brunson is ridiculous. It really is. Thibodeau said that he thought refs missed the call of Brunson's drive late and have been missing calls on him throughout the season. He clearly didn't like the officiating tonight. Yeah, let's get the whistle, baby. Let's get the whistle.
I never know if this actually works for us or if the calls just get worse after Tibbs actually complains in the post game.
I'm pretty sure it worked. It worked in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it did. After the first couple of Philly games. He started shooting like 8 a game or something.
It was wonderful. Loved it.
I remember last year, I think it was both when OG and Julius were out. We played in Miami and close loss, but Tibbs' post game was just he's getting the fouls over and over again. That's one of my favorites from him. Shout out to Tibbs.
Yeah, I mean, like, Cat's whistle has been atrocious. I don't think Brunson's whistle has been bad, but, like, he's averaging like 7 free throws a game.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think it's a career high. Sometimes Tibbs is right. Tonight was a little bit bad. I don't know if the play he's referring to is the one where he bumped knees with, I think, Keon Johnson on that layup.
And he didn't get the ball.
Yeah. But he's just got to shut the fuck up sometimes and just play the game because it wraps a lot of guys into bad habits about crying to the refs. Like Cat does his thing. Josh seems to gang up on the refs with Jalen whenever Jalen doesn't get a call, and then leaves a 3-on-5. So please keep it to a minimum. It's not really smart to just fight the refs, honestly.
I agree. Just talk about that playoff switch really quickly. Jalen Brunson, the first 2 games had 7.5 free throws, and then the last 4 games he averaged 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did work. It did work. So I mean, if Jalen gets to the line 10 times a game, you hope he can hit his free throws the way he's been shooting them. I don't know, but it would be nice to at least get him to the line and get some like fair calls for him. Let's see. Well, Clyde Frazier, how important is it that the Knicks get another big wing? I think it's probably the biggest move they can make. I think in a perfect world, you can save Mitch and you can get a big win with Precious' salary. I don't know how feasible that is. Because like having a big wing who could like play around 20 minutes to 20 to 25 minutes a night is probably like the biggest upgrade this team can make. Because it takes the minutes away from Josh, Mikhail, and OG, and allows them to like be at like 34, 35 minutes instead of 39, which I think is huge. I think it's the biggest move they could probably make. I just don't know how they would get there. But there has been some action around the association. If some guys aren't aware, the Suns traded their 2031 unprotected first round pick to the Utah Jazz for 3 picks in 2027, 2025, and 2029. So that seems to be the prelude to a Jimmy Butler trade. And there's going to be a lot of movement with that trade. I think once Jimmy Butler officially comes off the market, I do think that a lot of other teams are going to make their moves. It just kind of feels like the league is waiting for Jimmy.
Yeah. I don't even know. Do you have any names in mind for any big wings for the Knicks? It becomes really difficult with having to match salaries now in the second apron hard cap. So honestly, I don't even know any guys off the top of my head who we could look at.
I mean, honestly, I would probably look at someone like Haywood Highsmith.
That's pretty nasty, but
it's
that's
nasty,
what it is.
But it's also he would work. He definitely would work here. You can trade him with Precious' salary. I think the Heat still want to be competitive. If they're trading Jimmy, I think they'd probably end up getting Chris Middleton in the deal, which nasty. But if Chris Middleton is your return, I mean, you could probably try to sneak in there and get somebody like Haywood Highsmith. Yeah, good shooter, good defender, can definitely play a decent role in this team.
What is he making? He's making 5.2. Yeah, that's precious money.
Yep. Someone let's say Trey Lyles is somebody I've wanted. I think Trey Lyles would be really solid for us. Shout out to Zach. Zach has been the Trey Lyles.
The names are just so
yeah.
After having Acid for so long, it just hurts. Listening to Trey Lyles and Haywood Highsmith floated at the trade deadline.
Yeah, it'll be a nasty net. I mean, it's looking at Trey. One of those are Alec Burks for the 3rd time.
Tibbs wouldn't say no, that's for sure.
Tibbs would be oh, this is great.
Backup point.
But yeah, whatever moves Knicks can make, they're limited, obviously, just due to the second apron hard cap and the lack of salary of the roster currently. So, sorry. So like finding out trade partners and like trying to determine trade partners is going to be very interesting. Like I was thinking about like a Chris Boucher buyout, but I don't think that's going to be possible because I think he's getting extended by Toronto. So it'll be a very interesting time.
I mean, can we even? How do trades work with picks? Can we just send picks out for players? No, right? We have to match all salary.
Yeah, we have to take in less salary than we're giving out.
Because guys are, I mean, vets are going for seconds supposedly. Like the Clarkson is always being floated. I've seen Valanciunas' name a bunch, although I would likely be a little bit sad if we did that.
Yeah, I do not want to do Valanciunas, man. Not worth it.
But I hope we can make a move or two, just something that'll make Tibbs more comfortable.
Yeah,
and just like not kill the Wings.
Yep. Let's see. Tips on the shot where Jalen thought he got fouled. This thing clips up the time. What goes on with him is really ridiculous. It really is. That's all I gotta say. Yep. It's one thing Tips will do. It's he will ride with his stars, which is really good for him.
Our glorious leader. Thank you, Tibbs.
Our glorious leader. Let's see. 4 NBA teams now have 29 wins in the season. Cleveland Cavaliers, Oklahoma City Thunder, Boston Celtics, and New York Knicks. We do not belong in that conversation, but hey, shout out to the schedule for working that way.
Yeah.
we are not there.
No. I mean, we'll see. This upcoming stretch, we'll see if we're there.
We play the Celtics, and I think we play the Cavs fairly soon.
Yeah, it's
we play on February 21st, so
yeah,
exactly a
rough stretch. We have the Celtics on the 8th of February, the Pacers on the 11th of February. Then before then, just a brutal West Coast trip before then, I think.
Yep. I think the Knicks play Kings, play Grizzlies.
5 games on the West Coast.
No, they're not on the West Coast.
Oh no, they're not. I lied.
This West Coast team is coming to the Garden. Yeah, so let's see. Kings, Grizzlies, Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets. I mean, that's a good stretch. Like that's 5 potential playoff teams in the West. Yeah, 5 playoff teams in the West. No back-to-backs, which is good, but yeah, there should be some really tough games there, and then you have to go for the Rockets game to a back-to-back with the Raptors. That's a stretch.
That's annoying. The West Coast teams will be that's a good test for us. Especially playing the Grizzlies and the Nuggets back-to-back games. That'll probably be a little bit physically brutal. But yeah, I'm excited to see how we're going to defend these good offenses, to be honest. See if we can hold our own a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's like the defense in those games will be something to monitor and like how they're able to essentially like switch in the perimeter. I think that's probably the stretch where like you expect them to do more switching stuff. So
yeah,
it'll be very interesting to see what kind of approach they take defensively in those games and how they'll be able to hopefully try to find wins in those stretches. I'm delayed, but Bonnie corrected this initial tweet report. It's just his thumb. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, his thumb is definitely bothering him. You can see that. He was like grabbing at it as well during the game. You can see him like grimacing when he would interact with it. So he's definitely still feeling it, but hopefully it's able to be managed and dealt with so that way he can get back to swapping that thing. Jalen Brunson is having a phenomenal passing season with career highs in assist rate, 32.6%, assists per 100, 10.5, and run assists per 100, 4.6. His playmaking has helped New York's offense unlock new gear. Yeah, I mean, easily the best passing season of his career. 5-out spacing is doing what it has intended to do. His impact is the highest it has been in his career. I'm pretty sure EPM wise. I think he's still like one of the best players in the league per EPM. Like I know it's been a little like up and down his impact, but he's still like incredibly strong. Oh yeah, like he's still like one of the best players in offensive EPM. 4.5. That is 7th in the entire league, and like that's what you want to see from him. Yeah, he's just been one of the best EPM players in the league. He's been incredibly effective for the Knicks on the whole. A little bit more consistency, but yeah, he has been, especially as a passer, he's been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing it kind of quietly, too. Getting overshadowed by Cat a little bit. Because Cat's been doing all the flashy stuff. We've been expecting Jalen to do what he does. But I think he's up to 26 points. I think 7.5 assists. And he's hovering at like 61 true shooting last time I checked. So, you'll take all of that. In what a lot of people said would be a down year at the beginning of the season, continues to prove people wrong as he does.
All the time. Yeah, I think he's down to 26 exactly, and 7.3 assists with a true shooting of 60.4. So,
yeah,
yeah, the second most efficiencies in his career, on obviously the highest, biggest role of his career. Yeah, I think he's just settled in nicely into like being what he is. He isn't like the impact like god that he was last year, just because like he was the team for half of the season essentially, but now he's become much more of a well-rounded player and a impactful player. But he can like pick and choose when to be that impactful kind of guy.
Yeah, agree.
Yep. Celtics go the next win over the Nets tonight from above. We were in mud, but I think our defense is really good. We got to win games different ways. I mean, this is probably like one of the grittier wins we've had all season. I think the big difference from last year to this year is like the team doesn't really win gritty. They kind of like blow out. Like majority of their wins have been like blowouts by the fourth quarter. So the fact that like they were in a game where they didn't really have to go into the fourth quarter, lost the lead, and they got the lead back, like that kind of felt like the 23-24 Knicks. And ironically, it was in the Barclays, where like last year the Knicks had that game against the Nets where they were like battling and until the very end. And Josh Hart is at the center of both of them, ironically. But yeah, he a really gritty win, and I think the Knicks were kind of looking. I think we as fans were kind of looking for like the Knicks to get gritty wins.
Yeah, I mean, you made a point earlier about the defense switching, and I thought we did a good job of that tonight. I really liked it. I mean, obviously, it was Tibbs' game plan going in. It was still like some drop mixed in, but started out early, switching a ton. Big reason why we went out to that early 15-5 lead early in the first quarter, and then had those multiple stretches of like 10-2, 12-4, 16-4 runs throughout the game. It just gives OG and Mikal a lot of freedom to muck up whatever team's offensive sets are, just getting in passing lanes, and using their athleticism to just disrupt ball handlers and players off the ball, because that's when OG's at his best, just on the back line. If he's able to be switched off of somebody and not at the point of attack all the time, he's just holding guys off the ball while McCannell's just, harassing the point of attack.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they are able to switch, I think we saw like a couple of possessions where like the team trusted Jalen to switch to Claxton, which is really good, because Claxton does not have anything that he could do away from the basket. And it like shut down the possession. Like I think Claxton saw like a floater, and it just did not matter. Speaking of which, Nick Claxton does not matter. That brother is washed. I don't know what happened.
Poor guy. But yeah,
Like, man is cooked.
sad sights.
Not really.
Yeah, just they could leave Jalen on island, so to speak, a little bit more often than they do. Just gives the defense less scramble mode, which is pretty necessary when it's basically just two guys holding the entire defense together.
2.5 when John Hart just has to lock in.
Yeah.
But let's see. Fontecchio do operate. Oh wow.
Ooh.
We are in the pits. Probably Fontecchio.
Fontecchio, probably, yeah.
Just because I don't think Duopoly would play with the Knicks. I don't think Tibbs would play him over anybody we can realistically get. Like if Mitch comes back, Duopoly is not playing.
Yeah, I wonder what the hell we're even gonna do with Mitch, but that's probably a conversation for another day.
Probably keep him. I don't know if they will be able to find a trade. And the idea of Mitch in a Trump presidency intrigues me. I just want to see how it makes it work. I just want to see it. Playing in the same arena where he had a rally. Might give him superpowers. I don't know, man.
We might actually see YMCA and Mitch in the game.
He might take 3 dribbles. First game back, I'm telling you, he's gonna have like a DHO fake, and he's gonna dribble to the rack, and he's gonna fucking flex. It's gonna be great.
Step back 3, we'll take it.
If he actually takes 3,
he will.
I need it. He did exactly what Cap does. Put the cape on and went out there. We know how special he is. He lives for those moments. Grind and talented Jalen Brunson. So yeah, I think Cat likes Brunson.
Me too, Cat.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Carlton Town said it is what it is. The most questions about his sprained thumb / bone chip, but he did acknowledge that the injury has impacted his perimeter shooting. Yeah, I don't expect that to really improve significantly until after the All-Star break, and even though Cat's playing in the All-Star game, most likely. So you're kind of just hoping that he'll be able to deal with it. But yeah, it's definitely going to hurt his shooting. Man, I think everybody is kind of aware of that. But
I was going to say, at least people can not speculate and just. He already said it day one. I'll start worrying if his overall efficiency takes a huge hit, but until then.
Yeah, I think he'll end up being fine. We can probably call it here. Obviously, good to see the Knicks win. Their next game is on Saturday. Wow, on Saturday? Jeez.
Damn.
Okay.
I guess they need the rest.
I mean, I'll take it. But yeah, next game's on Saturday against the Kings. Hopefully, the Knicks are able to win. It's the start of a 5-game homestand, which is not really they play at home all this week or all this month, really, aside from Brooklyn and Philly, which are home games. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me and Luca. And we'll see you again next time on Saturday. Peace.
Peace.